We'll now take a couple questions each. Reuters, Andrea, you got the first question.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Chancellor Scholz. Mr. President, I have wanted to ask you about this Nord Stream project that you've long opposed. You didn't mention it just now by name, nor did Chancellor Scholz. Did you receive assurances from Chancellor Scholz today that Germany will in fact pull the plug on this project if Russia invades Ukraine? And did you discuss what the definition of invasion could be? And then Chancellor Scholz, wenn ich Sie fragen darf,
if I may ask you, Chancellor Scholz, you said there was some strategic ambiguity that was needed in terms of sanctions. I just wanted to know whether the sanctions you are envisaging and the EU is working on, and the US as well, are already finished, finalized, or is there still work ongoing? And you're not really saying what the details are. Is that just an excuse for Germany maybe to not support the SWIFT measures?
Let me answer the first question first. If Russia invades, that means tanks or troops crossing the border of Ukraine again. Then there will be no longer a Nord Stream 2. We will bring an end to it.
How will you do that exactly, since the project and control of the project is within Germany's control?
We will. I promise you, we'll be able to do it.
Meantime, powerful explosions rattled the Baltic Sea before the European authorities discovered unusual leaks on the two Nord Stream pipelines. That today from seismologists in Sweden and Denmark. The leaks do raise concern about the possible sabotage as Europe faces a growing energy crisis. Denmark's military officials releasing this video today. It shows a swirling mass of natural gas bubbling up on the surface of the Baltic Sea. Sky News' Shabani Robbins reports on the fallout of that leak.
The pipelines run more than 1,000 kilometres under the Baltic Sea to Germany. The first leak was reported on the never-opened Nord Stream 2 line on Monday, east of the island of Bornholm. Then on Tuesday, 2 leaks were found on the nearby Nord Stream 1, with Swedish scientists detecting explosions.
We know very well what an underwater blast looks like, and so in this case there's no doubt this is not an earthquake. This is a blast that has been occurring in the water column or close to the bottom.
The cause of the damage is still being investigated. Ukraine's accused Russia of a terrorist attack, while Moscow says it's making its own inquiries, also claiming the pipelines have been deliberately destroyed, while experts are speculating what could have caused this damage. Convinced this was the result of a deliberate act, Denmark will meet the NATO chief on Wednesday to discuss the leak. If sabotage is confirmed here, that could mark a new and serious escalation in the energy war raging alongside the conflict in Ukraine.
Columbia University professor and well-known economist Jeffrey Sachs said that he, quote, would bet, end quote, that the U.S. is responsible for last week's Russian-owned Nord Stream pipeline attack, a notion that Bloomberg host Tom Keene vehemently pushed back on. Here's a bit of that back and forth on Bloomberg TV yesterday.
Why do you feel that was a U.S. action? What evidence do you have of that?
Well, first of all, there's direct radar evidence that U.S. helicopters, military helicopters that are normally based in Gdansk, were circling over this area. We also had the threats from the United States earlier in this year that one way or another, we are going to end Nord Stream. We also have a remarkable statement by Secretary Blinken last Friday in a press conference. He says, this is also a tremendous opportunity. It's a strange way to, it's a strange way to talk if you're worried about the piracy on international infrastructure of vital significance. So I know this runs counter to our narrative. It runs, you're not allowed to say these things in the West. But the fact of the matter is, All over the world, when I talk to people, they think the U.S. did it.
First and foremost, I would like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rekah Quadash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone who taught me this truth and who rule well. And peace and blessings with sincerity to the hopeful elect. May salvation be in your futures. We're going to start this lesson off with Psalms chapter 64 and verse 8. And it reads, "So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away." And that's what you're witnessing. The Lord has the spirits on these Edomites to tell on themselves, whether it's their president or whether it's through these truthers in the world, other Edomites exposing them. You know, social media was this devil's worst nightmare, all right? The internet and social media. Because through these things, we can see the hypocrisy of these Edomites. And America is the only country that had something to gain by the sabotage of the Nord Stream pipeline. Russia has no reason to do it. Germany has no reason to do it. So in a situation like this, all you have to do is, you know, separate the nations and say who has the most to gain by the destruction of this pipeline. And as the reporter from Reuters stated, she said, you know, this pipeline between Germany and Russia has been long opposed by the West. And what did President Biden say? We are going to bring an end to the Nord Stream 2. And she said, how? He was like, hey, don't worry about it. Promise we'll be able to do it. And this is exactly how they decided to do it. So, hey, we're living in beautiful times, man, because the Lord is exposing these Edomites and showing the world who the wicked is, all right, pertaining to Malachi 1 and 4. Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. So let's get another precept. This is Micah chapter 2 and verse 1. Woe to them that devise iniquity. All right. Woe meaning destruction, and iniquity is sin upon sin. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand. And this is what these elite banking families do, man. The elite Edomites, the chief house of Edom, Amalek. You know, they have all their, you know, their summits, you know, their get-togethers, you know, their think tanks, and all they do is conjure up mischief, ways to steal, kill, and rob other nations of their resources. This is what they do. The wicked are estranged from the womb. Soon as they be born, they speak lies. So from there, we're going to go back to Psalms, the 64th chapter, and start at verse 5. It reads, "They encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune, laying snares privately. They say, who shall see me? Well, the Lord sees you. And now through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, He's shedding a light on all your wickedness and allowing the world and all the nations to see who the real problem of the earth is. You goddamn Edomites, man. Plain and simple. So from here, let's get Nahum chapter 3, and we're going to start at verse 4. Because of the multitudes of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, which is America, Babylon the Great, the mistress of witchcraft, that selleth nations through her whoredoms, and families through her witchcraft, behold, I am against thee, saith the Lord Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai of hosts, and I will discover thy skirt upon thy face, and I will show the nations thy nakedness, and the kingdoms thy shame. And this is exactly what the Lord's doing. The Lord has lift up your skirt and to the world, and the world sees that you have no panties on. All right? That you are that whore that the Bible speaks of. And you're exposed for all the world to see. Okay? Your pedophile islands. You know, the rape, robbery, and murder of the indigenous people. The blatant lies that you tell about history, making yourself the hero in the stories. How you discovered how Christopher Columbus discovered America. Okay, when the indigenous people who are Israelites were already here. How you're pushing this alphabet agenda on the kids. You had Putin standing up against it. Okay, these nations are starting to see you for what you truly are. And ultimately it's going to allow them to turn against you and burn you with fire, man, with intercontinental ballistic missiles. Okay? Matter of fact, let's get Obadiah chapter 1 and verse 7. And it reads, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. So all the men, okay, of Esau's confederacy, all of the American allies, all right, the ones pertaining to Revelation 18 and 9, the kings of the earth who had committed fornication and lived deliciously off her, all right, all these nations, okay, are the ones that are going to put America's back against the wall, man, or going to stab that knife in her back. So once again, Obadiah 1 and 7, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee. Okay, and why were these nations at peace with you? Because they were living deliciously off you. They were getting their nation wealthy and receiving benefits from America, Babylon the Great. Okay, but all along, never forgetting that this devil dropped bombs on Hiroshima. All right. You know how this devil treated all the nations, throwing its power around, going into these nations, taking their resources, and just being the bully on the block. So the men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is no understanding in him. Okay, and this devil doesn't even see it coming, man. These Edomites don't even see it coming because of the pride of their hearts. So let's get Revelation chapter 17, and we're going to start at verse 1. And there came one of the 7 angels, which had 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. Okay, and we know that great whore is America, Babylon the Great, and the many waters are the people, man. Okay, pertaining to Revelation 17 and verse 15. All right, America, man, the great melting pot. Continuing on, Revelations 17 and 2, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. Right, drunk off of all the ways of America, Babylon the Great. Okay? So from here, let's jump down to, let's go down to 15. Because like I said, ultimately, America, Babylon the Great's behavior is going to cause its allies nations to destroy it. Okay, and in 1 hour, they're going to shoot intercontinental ballistic missiles over here, and it's going to destroy America, Babylon the Great in 1 hour. All right, and this is during the Third World War. All right, so Revelation 17 and 15, and the main point is in 16. It says, "And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast," all right, because we know that the beast makes up NATO for its military might and EU for its financial might. All right, so NATO and the EU make up the beast. All right, so it says, "And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore." Right, and America's allies are going to start hating her. All right, and you're seeing this in real time. You're seeing it now. You know, they already had some, had hate for her, and the only reason that they, really allied up and became confederate with Esau is because of that. You know, they have benefits, but the blessing, man, Esau's blessing was the sword. That military might had the nation shook. So, "And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire." All right, so all those nations that are confederate with her. Matter of fact, let's get it in the NIV. I'll let y'all read it in the NIV. This is Obadiah 1 and Salakia 1 and 7, and this is it in the NIV. "All your allies will force you to the border. Your friends will deceive and overpower you. Those who eat your bread will set a trap for you, but you will not detect it." Hey, man, that says it all. All right. And that trap, that snare is going to be them ICBMs, man. All right. So anyway, Lord's willing, this was edifying. The Lord is exposing this devil on all sides. And we almost out of here. Shalom, Israel. Wa abad babal.